You ever hear a slap echo so loud it feels like the whole world just stopped? That's how it started, right there in the middle of Lincoln High's crowded hallway, with a sound so sharp it sliced through the usual chaos. Laughter, lockers slamming, jocks tossing a football like they owned the place. And the craziest part? The kid who got slapped didn't even flinch. Yeah, that was me. Lily Grayson. Ghost Girl. The bell had just rung, and the hallway was its usual circus. Cheerleaders squealing over TikToks, teachers pretending not to see trouble brewing, and Brandon Keller holding court like he was king of Ohio. Big guy, linebacker build, that smug smirk he wore like armor. His crew, three hyenas trailing him, waiting for a show, leaned against the lockers, scanning for their next target. You know the type, right? The kind of guys who think high school is their personal kingdom. And then his eyes found me that I was doing what I always did, slipping through the crowd with my head down, hoodie up, backpack clutched tight. People barely noticed me on a good day. I liked it that way. Being invisible meant being safe. But Brandon loved making sure I wasn't invisible. Little things before, a shove in the stairwell, knocking my books out of my hands in the cafeteria, calling me Ghost Girl loud enough for everyone to laugh. My mom always told me to keep my head down, not to give guys like him a reason. And for a long time, I did, but something was different that morning. Maybe it was the way the air felt heavier. Maybe I was just done being that quiet little shadow. Either way, I felt it the second he stepped in front of me, blocking my way like he owned the hallway. "Hey, Ghost Girl," he said, his voice dripping with that fake charm bullies think makes them funny. His crew laughed on cue. "Where you going? Got a date with your imaginary friends?" I looked up, just for a second. My gray eyes met his. Calm. Too calm, apparently, because he didn't see it for what it was. He saw weakness, and then he slapped me. The sound cracked through the hallway, sharp and ugly. Everyone stopped. Phones came out, kids whispering, waiting for me to cry or run away. That's what I always did. That's what he expected, but not this time. I straightened up slow, touching my cheek where his handprint was blooming red. I looked him dead in the eye and said, quiet but clear, "You shouldn't have done that." He laughed, trying to keep that tough guy act going. "What? You gonna cry about it?" He raised his hand again, but I moved first. It was instinct, muscle memory I'd drilled into myself for years. 1 second his arm was swinging, the next I'd grabbed his wrist, twisted, and yanked down with all the precision Sensei Sato had taught me. There was this sickening pop, followed by Brandon screaming and dropping to his knees, clutching his arm bent at an angle it definitely wasn't supposed to bend. The hallway exploded. Shouts, gasps, phones everywhere. His crew froze like deer in headlights. One kid tried to step forward, but I just looked at him. Calm, steady, and he backed off. I stood over Brandon, my voice steady as steel. "Don't touch me again." And then I walked away, just like that, slipping back into the crowd as Mrs. Callahan came barreling in yelling for everyone to move up by lunch. The video was everywhere. Blurry clips of me snapping his elbow, kids whispering like I was some kind of superhero or psycho, depending on who you asked. But none of them knew the real story. Nobody knew who I really was, and I wasn't about to tell them at least not yet. See, what they didn't know was that this wasn't the first time I'd had to fight back. 2 years ago, I was in Chicago, living in a cramped apartment with my mom and her alcoholic boyfriend, Derek. He was mean, the kind of guy who'd slam a door just to make you flinch, who hit harder when you tried to run. I was 14, small, scared, and tired of being his punching bag. The night everything changed, he backhanded me so hard I hit the floor, blood running from my lip. My mom snapped that night, grabbed a kitchen knife, screaming at him to leave. Derek laughed, lunged for her, and I didn't think. I just moved, grabbed his arm, twisted it like I'd seen in a self-defense video I'd watched 100 times, and popped his shoulder out of its socket. The cops came. Derek was arrested. Mom packed us up, and we moved to Ohio for a fresh start. But I made myself a promise. Never again. Never again would I let anyone hurt me without consequence. Oh yeah, I trained. Found a local dojo, learned Krav Maga, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai. Sensei Sato taught me how to fight, sure, but more than that, he taught me how to control it, to keep it locked away unless I needed it. And I needed it that day with Brandon. But here's the thing about fights in high school. They never just end when you walk away. The very next day, Brandon's buddy Jake cornered me in the parking lot after school, his crew with him. "You think you're tough now, ghost girl?" he sneered, stepping closer that I kept my hands loose, scanning for exits. "Walk away, Jake," I said calmly. "I don't want trouble." He swung at me anyway, and I flipped him onto the asphalt like it was nothing. Phones caught that one too, and by the end of the week, I wasn't just ghost girl, I was a legend. Kids I'd never talked to were suddenly sitting next to me at lunch, asking questions, wanting to be friends. Teachers stared like they were waiting for me to snap again. I hated it, but then there was Mia. Mia was this sharp, curious junior who ran the school paper, and she wouldn't leave me alone. She showed up in the library, at my locker, even at the dojo. She wanted my story. I kept brushing her off, but she didn't give up. And when her article finally dropped, it wasn't what I expected. She didn't call me violent or dangerous. She wrote about the pressure of being bullied, about standing up when nobody else would. And something crazy happened. Kids started speaking up. Brandon's victims, kids who'd been too scared before, started coming forward. Then Mia found the twist that changed everything. The night before Brandon's family was set to sue the school, Mia showed up at my house, pale and shaking, holding up her phone. She'd found a video of Brandon slapping a freshman weeks before he hit me. Proof he wasn't just a one-time jerk. Principal Nguyen showed it in court, other kids testified, and the lawsuit was thrown out. Brandon transferred schools a week later. And me? I thought things would go back to normal, but they didn't. Kids still called me Ghost Girl, but now it felt different, respectful, almost like a badge of honor. Mia wouldn't take no for an answer, so I joined the school paper. Sensei Sato said I'd changed too, that my sparring was lighter, less desperate, like I'd finally let go of something heavy. The last time I sat on that old park bench where I used to hide from the world, I watched little kids play and felt something I hadn't in years: peace. I wasn't a victim anymore, not a ghost. I was just Lily Grayson. And for the first time, that felt like enough. But you know what? Part of me wonders if it really is over. Brandon's gone, sure, but kids like him? There's always another one waiting in the wings. And me? Well, I've got this training, this promise I made to myself. So what happens if it happens again? What do you think? Was I right to fight back the way I did? Or did I go too far? Tell me in the comments. Because maybe the line between justice and violence isn't as clear as we want it to be. And if you've ever had to stand up for yourself when nobody else would, I want to hear that too.